I would like to know if you would recommend that I take a year, say, or 6 months, and just say, Becky, this is what it's been like for me, and this is what I feel like I'm needing. I love you, and I'm not going to be available apart from a crisis. Too
Thank you.
painful. I need time to heal or
Hmm.
figure out how this could work differently.
Before I answer that question directly, tell me what, in an ideal world, you say that to your daughter, and what's the ideal outcome? What happens next that would be like it worked?
A year later, she might have taken my need for kindness more seriously and made more of an effort.
So, your hoped for outcome is that she shows up differently, that it teaches her something.
Yeah, that I'm not available for the same kind of treatment. And I know in NVC, like, we don't make our goals to change people, but I guess the biggest goal is to protect myself because I honestly sometimes,
And that's partly why I'm asking this question before I answer your question, because I think that you have some mixed intentions going on in the strategy you're considering.
okay, okay,
I think there's an inner conflict in you. I think there's a part of you that is like, I'm going to teach her a lesson. And if I remove myself, she'll miss me and then she'll learn and then she'll be different to recruit me back, some version of this. And then I think there's another part of you that is like, oh my God, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I'm hurt. I just want to break from this dynamic.
yeah. And the third part is I'm scared and lonely to block her
Yeah.
hurting me. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what the wisest path forward is for you, Josie. I would sit with it a little bit longer. But I would say before I make a decision on any of those, I would want to get really, really clear on my central intention. Because to the degree that there's a little girl in there, this may or may not be true, but I'll overcharacterize it for a moment. To the degree that there's a hurt little girl in there who's saying, if you treat me badly, I'm going to go away and then you'll see how lonely it is. And then you're going to come and recruit me and care for me better. To the degree that she's making the decision, I would take her to therapy first before I block my daughter because she needs healing in you, not from your daughter, but with you. She needs some help from you first.
Yeah. So that I don't need for her to treat me differently.
So that your daughter isn't responsible for your little girl. So that a therapist, a mother, your wise functional self, whomever can help be tending to your little girl. And that your little girl isn't making decisions about your parenting. And right now, there are like, you've got a lot of awareness of the different pieces that are here, but they also are mixing a little bit and they have different agendas. And so I might suggest first getting more aware and getting more empathy and more help with your inner little girls so that when you make a parenting decision and a boundary decision as it relates to your relationship with your daughter, that that is coming from the most whole and healed and functional and wise part of you. That the no contact with your daughter doesn't carry with it tinges and shades of a victiminess that she's supposed to rescue you from it, or some punitive energy that she has to feel bad and then come and try and make herself feel better by recruiting you. I would want those dynamics a little bit more conscious and cleaned up before I think it's a wise decision. And even having said that, I will also say you get to try things out and try a strategy and find out if it works. But that's partly why I was asking, like, let's say you do this strategy. In an ideal world, what does works look like? And is this strategy actually going to get you that outcome? I'm not sure. What do you think?
think everything that you're saying makes sense. I still feel a need right now to protect myself,
Yes.
and I don't know how to do that.
I think it could sound like this. Dear daughter, I love you so much. I'm going to take a couple of weeks. I'm just going to take some time offline for a couple of weeks and regroup. And then why don't we check in once a month and just see how we're doing? And I would suggest having some kind of a structure because I like structure. You might not. You and your daughter might be much more emergent. I don't know. But in my world, it would look like, hey, how about if I give you a call on the first Sunday of every month and we just check in for half an hour and see how we're doing? And then I would give myself some time in between there to keep the work part to myself. I wouldn't need her to know that I'm doing this because you're mean and horrible to me, and therefore I'm going away because I don't like how you are with me. I'd kind of keep that part for me until I worked through enough of it where I could come back with a clear and doable request or with some kind of a reveal that I would hope would be connecting. And down the road, it might sound something like, I'm realizing, when we have these interactions, I'll use one from my own life. When we have these interactions and then suddenly you're on your phone, you get abrupt, you get kind of like the message I get is that you're annoyed with me. Do you know those moments? Right? We start with a neutral observation. Yeah, mom, I know those moments. It's so annoying. Like you're always trying to talk to me when I'm busy. Okay, yes, those moments. Can we figure out together how to do those differently? Because when it's playing out the way it is right now, I I part of this is I take it really personally and I start feeling like I'm just discardable and you can walk all over me and you can just treat me however and I'm supposed to have no feelings about it, and actually my feelings are getting hurt and I know a piece of that is mine, but I just want you to be aware of that. Like it has an impact. I want to be treated with a little bit more kindness and consideration in that moment. What's happening for you? What are you needing in that moment? I bet you're also wanting more kindness and consideration if I'm always trying to talk to you at times that are not working for you. Like we're going to have this kind of conversation, but in small, micro moment oriented, practical, what would help? How can we both do this differently? Help me understand what's happening for you. Here's what's happening for me, and then we're going to do it like one bite size at a time. We're not going to try and change the whole dynamic of our relationship at once, but that is a way that you can have it in bite sized pieces, because it sounds like right now it's too much. It's just too many things, too many stimuli, too much stuff getting swirled up. And you're like, whoa, I'm overwhelmed. I need this to be a little bit more drip, drip, drip than fire hydrant.
Yes, and would you mind before we end putting maybe one or two sentences out there that I could listen to later that would summarize what I would say to her right now about taking a
Hmm.
2 week break or
I wonder. I think, let me give you some rough drafts and you make them better, okay?
okay.
But from what you've told me today, it sounds like what you would want to say to her is something like, hey, I've become aware of a lot of stuff coming up in me around our relationship. And one of the things that I'm noticing is there's a really hurt little girl in me that is feeling, who's really just taking things very, very personally and is trying to find all kinds of control tactics, overt and covert, to get you to be different and get you to be nicer to me. And it's really muddying up my own clarity about who I and how I want to be as mom. And honey, I'm going to need a little bit of time to go do some therapy work and some healing work and go figure this piece out, because I think I need more empathy and awareness of what's coming up in me so that I can bring something a little bit more helpful for you and me. And I bet there's going to be a conversation where we can work through something, but I don't know what that is yet. And I'm going to take off a month and do a little bit of inner work. And I just want you to know that if you don't hear from me for a while, it's because I'm doing a little deep dive into this thing that I think is getting in the way of the kind of connection that I hope we would both want one day. And then you decide for yourself, Josie, what the details of that are. I mean, it could be something like, how would it be? And if it were me, I would be asking for consent. I would be saying, what would it be like if we just don't talk for 2 weeks? How would that feel for you? Is that too short? Is that too long? What would it be like if we didn't talk for a month? Would that work for you? Like, I'd want her needs considered in that. I'd be like, will that feel okay to you? Are you also wanting a little bit of space from me? Let's find a period of time where we take a bit of a break. You do whatever you want with your part of that break, but I want a little bit of time to focus on all of the stuff stirring in me so that I can figure out what's mine to heal and then what actually is in our relationship to work through.